Hello, I'm Andrea Williams, Chief Executive of Christian Concern and the Christian Legal Centre in these strange and unique times in our world at the moment. My subject today is anti-discrimination laws in the United Kingdom, and I hope that by speaking to the anti-discrimination laws in the United Kingdom, we can teach a lesson to you in South Korea for what happens when they are implemented, the trajectory. Equality law typically starts off with relatively humble goals, but then slowly expands into every sphere of our lives, including those that relate to the free exercise of our Christian faith and how our children are educated. In Europe and in the UK, schools are legally obliged to respect the way that parents wish to raise their children in accordance with their Christian faith. However, with the introduction of the Equality Act in 2010, the Department of Education made it mandatory that the various protected characteristics, including sexual orientation and gender reassignment, should be promoted. Little guidance was provided to schools, but one thing was clear. The various educational bodies, locally and nationally, encourage schools to promote LGBT education. It has got to the point in the UK that the government has adopted new education regulations requiring schools at the secondary level to teach LGBTQI elements in all schools, including Christian schools, with no right of opt-out. Primary schools are also under heavy pressure to engage in LGBT issues. I think that many of us have had, historically, in the United Kingdom, an implicit trust in the education of our children by the state. Who would have thought that this could possibly happen in the United Kingdom? Well, it has. Who would think today that it could possibly happen in South Korea? Well, it could. In our nation, the Christian voices that have dissented have been very few. Churches have far too often not defended biblical belief, but have instead gone quiet on it, sought to be loving and caring, sought to say very clearly, we are places of welcome, we do not judge, which of course is true, but then not to say anything about the truth of God's moral code. They've gone on the defence to prove that they're not the type of Christian who would be an enemy of homosexuality. This is why in South Korea it is vital that we talk about the truth when it comes to sexual ethics from the get-go of this anti-discrimination legislation. You are the frontline warriors for what is good and what is right and what is pleasing to God in your nation. In the United Kingdom, I do believe that we have lost our way. Views that show dissent from the sexual orthodoxy of the day are punished and shouted down. So we need people like you to learn from what has happened to us. People willing to stand up for the truth, no matter what the consequences, but people to understand what comes and to resist it from the outset. Do not be naive. Do not be naive. Do not, in fact, have the kind of the Christian naivety. Truth and grace, grace and truth. Understand from what has happened to us what will come, unless you resist, because it's your children's lives that will be at stake. I thank you for taking a brave stand. I thank you for what you do. God bless South Korea.